What do you need? Little attitude. Ladies, I teach class. You gotta stop jumping on me because we really need to clip your freaking toenails. Jesus. Be bleeding before this class is over. Is that Edward also here? I see Sarah Simmons.
Morning, afternoon, good afternoon.
Whatever time it is. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Edward, are you there? I bought something.
Not Edward, Shannon.
Shannon, I bought something.
What did you buy?
Edward would appreciate it. I got another blue microphone.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We'll give it another moment for folks to join. Today is all about that compliance, getting paid, baby. Oh, here comes the folks. Here comes the crowd. We got Joe, we got Jeannie. I think we're good to go ahead and get started here. One thing real fast, guys, I do have a rule when it comes to my classes. Turn them cameras on. I love talking to faces and not spaces. It's a human need. You know, it's a human thing. I have a hard time talking to black squares with no feedback. It bothers me a little bit. But feel free to, we're a smaller group in these classes usually, usually 5 to 10 people in them. So if you have a question, feel free to interrupt me. You are not hurting my feelings, I promise. Feel free to just chime in and go, hey, you're going too fast, or hey, I didn't quite catch that. Yeah, I think that gets the point across. So today we are wrapping up this month's command courses. We talked about database management in the first class. We talked about setting up our contacts and good best practices for our data. And I know that we've been working on that so hard and getting that together. Last week we did the opportunities class, talked about sales pipeline. We talked about DocuSign and getting things signed. And then finally this week, we are going to be going over the compliance piece of the office, as well as the commission requests and how to get paid. Now, I got it slotted for 2 hours. We shall see if we need that much time. I don't know if we will or not. Today may be a little shorter. With that being said, though, I'm not sure. It's the first time I've taught them together like this in this format. So we're on this journey together. For those that don't know me, because I'm seeing a lot of faces that I have not yet met before, my name is Evan Ransom. I was the Market Center tech trainer here at the office, and now kind of independent tech trainer for a lot of different offices. I will still be your tech guy here at the office until we find a full-time replacement for what I used to do, for those one-on-one trainings and whatnot. That being said, the Market Center still pays for you guys to get one-on-one access. So there is a Calendly link that I may have handy. I should have handy. You would think I would have handy for my calendar. So that if there's any questions or follow-up needed, know that you're absolutely A-okay to book time on my calendar. Let me just grab that link. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. And Miss Shannon, welcome to the show. Welcome to the party. Feel free to have that camera on if you don't mind. I'm a big fan of talking to faces, not spaces. You guys heard that spiel a second ago. I won't bore you with it again. Shannon, I know you. We've met before. Have you always had the last name Moreland? You're muted, by the way.
Oh no, I got married.
You got married. You're Shannon. You used to be Shannon Cohen, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I saw your face. I immediately was just like, I know who Shannon is. Got married. Congratulations on getting married. That's awesome.
Thank you. Same to you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So who's ready to get started?
We all are.
There's my Amazon Prime Day shopping. Shoe bins. Great need of physical organization in my home. All right. So let's get going. So we talked before about DocuSign opportunities. We are going to go back into opportunities today because this is where we are going to spend pretty much all of our time is inside of this app here, the one with the two hands shaking. And we talked last week about what all these different phases and stages are and how to make an opportunity and all of that good stuff. Today, we are going to go back into an opportunity and we are going to talk about documents and file compliance. Okay. So I'm going to go into my appointment phase here. I'm just going to grab this Sarah's new home. Beautiful. What do we have for documents in here? Do we have anything? We do. Okay, perfect. Got a couple of documents in here. Now to get back to our DocuSign room, there's a gnat. We're going to hit go to transaction. This takes us back into DocuSign. Okay, we'll do this the long way. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got our room and we've got our opportunity. If we did things and we created this room off of the opportunity the way that we learned last week, then you'll be set to easily move files back and forth between the opportunity and the room. Okay, you guys know what I mean when I say the room versus the opportunity? Are we familiar with that terminology? Should I explain that real quick? Anybody need that? Feel free to say.
I need
Could you
it.
explain that? Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
cool. So the opportunity is what we made in command, right? That's the representation of our transaction. It's got all the different details. It's got our contacts attached to it. The room was made off of the opportunity when we clicked the start transaction button. So if anyone is looking at their document screen, their opportunity, and they see a black start transaction button, that means you haven't made a DocuSign room yet, and you probably don't have any files in this room or in this opportunity. The room is DocuSign. This is where we get forms filled out and we get them signed and we get our day-to-day work done in. Right? So opportunities is still in command. This is the part that talks to the office. This is the part where we get our files reviewed. DocuSign, the room, is where we're getting our paperwork from, where we're getting things filled out, and we're getting things signed via envelopes. If that still does not make sense, I would highly encourage you to go back and watch last week's class where we go into that in full detail, okay? In the meantime, today's class is still worth to take, even if you're not quite sure on that end, okay? Because I want to talk today specifically around this whole compliance thing, what's going on in this screen. Because last week I showed this screen off, but I kept saying we'll come back to it and we'll come on and we came over here and did all our work. This week we're going to flip that, right? We have our DocuSign room. We're going to talk about that next month or last week, and we're going to keep our focus on this room because this is the page where we're going to submit our documents when we're done with them, okay? So for those that didn't watch last week, this is not where you are to write your documents. We've already done that in this case. So the first thing I want to point out on this screen, and I want my windows to not be so, let's do it this way. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then where's my annotation menu? Good deal, all my teaching tools. Okay, so I want to draw our attention to this guy right here, and this guy right here. This is where I want us to pay attention. So when we made this opportunity, we selected and we said that it was a buyer opportunity. That told the system what files we need for compliance. Okay, that's what told the system what we needed. If we get to this point and we realize, oh my gosh, I'm working with a listing, then you have made a mistake, right? And we would need to archive this opportunity and make a new one that's under the correct type. That type is very important. We talked about that first week. Now, on the left-hand side, this first box, you'll notice you may have nothing here in the middle. And if so, come over and click this arrow. You'll see residential or commercial as your two options. We're going to focus on residential today. We're going to focus on residential. We're not going to get too far into commercial or really at all. Is anybody here a commercial agent? No, it's not usually. Commercial agents don't usually come to these classes. Just want to make sure. Okay. So on the left-hand side, we have three folders. We've got consultation, under contract, and close. Now, judging off what you're seeing on screen, what folder are we looking at now? Which of the three?
Under contract.
Awesome. What's telling you that?
Up at the top left corner of your big red box, it says under contract.
Very good. That's good. One other thing to notice is that under contract over here has got that blue line next to it. It's in blue text. That's letting you know that that's the folder that we're in. There are three folders. There's a consultation folder as well. The consultation folder is remarkably simple. It's just one document. It's the exclusive buyer representation agreement, right? But I want to point out that there are three folders and we are going to be submitting all three of them for compliance. And the reason why I bring that up is I get a lot of people that come to this folder and go, where do I put my sales contract in this folder? You don't. This is not where that particular document goes. I see a lot of folks hitting the add item, the manual add item button and putting everything in this first folder. If you do that, it will get bounced back. You're basically to spend a lot of time making a mess for yourself, right? So pay attention to which folder that you're in. Under contract is going to have everything related to the sales contract, right? And closed is, well, that's the settlement and the green sheet and, DA packet and that kind of stuff. You're really only going to need to worry about the settlement statement in this folder, okay? It's that docket that came out of closing. Final settlement. If you're in a listing type opportunity, you may notice that that first folder's got a different name. Does anyone have a listing opportunity open right now that they're looking at, or they see that different name and can share what that is with the class? In a listing opportunity, this first folder is the listed folder. I'm going to show what that looks like. So we have a listed folder and a listing opportunity. Now, there's a lot more going on in a listed folder than there is in a consultation folder. Right? There's a lot more going on in this one. What are you crying about? Stop crying. My dogs are with me today, and they are just spoiled little babies. Okay. So
What kind of dogs, Evan?
Oh, I got a German Shepherd mix. I got an East Nashville Brown dog, and I've got a little, I want to say Border Collie mix of some kind. She's the disaster. Is that one? She's the one that's an absolute travesty upon the household. Love her to death. Don't get me wrong, but she is a handful. Let's talk about the files that are in here. So I get this question a lot, or at least I used to, which is, hey, do you have a sheet of paper that shows the compliance checklist? And I will say no, but if you're looking at the compliance section, you're looking at the checklist. This is the checklist that we're looking at right here. For any residential buyer contract, this is the things that we need. We're going to notice there's several columns in this big main list. We have status, we have requirement. Okay, inside requirement, we got a couple of different things. We've got conditional and we've got required. Now, required means exactly what you think it means. It's required every single time. There is no exception to the rule, right? If you're going to get paid, you need the compensation agreement between the buyer and listing broker, and you need it signed by both agents. And that's required every time. Though we may have some situations in which things are conditional. like a counteroffer. There may not be a counteroffer, right? If it got accepted on the purchase and sale agreement, there's no counter, this is no longer needed. And you'll even see that little text, they'll tell you little hints. Amendment to purchase and sale agreement, when applicable. There may not be an amendment to the purchase and sale agreement. But here's the thing. If it's got signatures on it and it's related to the transaction, it should be in here, okay? If it's got signatures related to transaction, it should be in here. Then we see what kind of document, like what's the document name, right? What document are we actually asking for? So we're asking for the compensation agreement, we're asking for the confirmation of agency agreement, we're asking for a copy of the earnest deposit or wire transfer, purchase and sale agreement, counteroffer, amendment. I'm not going to list every single one of them. You get the idea, right? It goes down and down and down all the way down. We even got some optional ones that may or may not be required. So multiple offer disclosure notification, home warranty form notification. Those are the kind of ones that don't show up as often, right? Well, this is kind of funny because this one does show up all the time now, but you get the idea. And then last but not least, we have a spot where you can actually add those documents. And this is the part where if you're making your DocuSign rooms by clicking on that start a transaction button, this process is very, very simple. If you go to DocuSign directly and you make your rooms out of the DocuSign account without going through an opportunity first, this is the part where it's going to be a little more annoying because you're going to have to download the files manually and upload them manually one by one. Whereas in here, all I have to do, let's say for confirmation of agency, actually, let's do the buyer rep, this one right here. I'm going to hit add file. And before I do, take a good look at this screen because there's going to be some changes after. I'm going to have us highlight what those changes are. Okay. Take a little screenshot in your head. Now I hit add file. I've got a couple of different options. I can add them manually, which if I don't have a connected transaction to this opportunity, I would have to. Or if I went and got things signed by hand, I would have to manually upload them. Or I can look into the connected DocuSign room where I'm going to see the files that are related to this transaction. And how convenient, I've gotten an exclusive buyer representation agreement signed. Please note that you'll only ever see flat PDFs and signed documents in here, which is actually a good thing because we wouldn't want the form to also show up. That would be really annoying because now you got two of the same thing. Which one is it? Right? So the signed versions are the ones that show up. So I click that button and all I do is hit assign. And that puts that in here. It assigns it to that slot. Now, for those of you that took really good screenshots in your head earlier, what are some differences on screen that we see now? What have we unlocked by adding that document to this list?
It says uploaded under status.
Very good. So we've got upload under status. That's changed from not uploaded to uploaded. What else we got? There's several. There's plenty of them on screen. Some of them are very, very minute.
You have the blue highlighted buyer rep agreement on the right.
Okay, and so we've got this right here letting us know that we do in fact have a file here. If you click on that, it'll show you what you uploaded. All right, so this is what I picked. I should have some signatures at the bottom. I do. Very good. What else we got? I'm going to pick on Shannon Moreland for this one. And Shannon, I might pick on you a lot today because I know who you are.
I have contractors in my house, so I'm doing a million things at once. All right.
All
So,
you're doing is making me want to pick on you more.
okay, we already have the signed contract over here. What else are you
What
asking
else
for?
has changed since before I added that upload? Two things in particular I'm looking for.
Says uploaded.
Yes, they uploaded. I've already highlighted that one.
I don't know. Submit to MC.
Submit to MC now becomes an option
Okay.
because we've got documents in there now. Before it was grayed out. See?
Mm.
Now there's an option. The other one that I was looking for, guys, was this little thing right here. It's also shown right here. This folder now has a status. It did not have a status before. In fact, you'll find enclosed, yeah, there's no status here. Without a status, you can't do anything. And open is the first status that you get. And open really doesn't mean a whole lot. All open means is that, hey, there's documents in here. You put some stuff in, we're open for business, right? Now, don't feel the need to hit submit to MC the moment that the file is open. Don't do that, because if we go to under contract, you'll notice, well, I got a lot more to go. I could submit it right now, guaranteeing myself a returned, right? Because there's no way this file is ready. But consultation sure is ready because there's only one in here and I've got it in there. So I can go ahead and submit that. Now, I'm not actually going to do it. Actually, I'm totally going to do it. Forget it. I'm going to do it. I want to freak out our VA. The guy that reviews these. He's going to be like, Evan, what is this file? This is awful. This is the worst thing you've ever sent in. I look forward to his feedback. All right. So once I hit submitted, what changed?
Grayed out, says submitted.
Yeah, I can't do anything with the office anymore. I've done what I can. They've been notified. I'm going to pick on Savannah now.
It says submitted in where the consultation folder is.
Right here. Oh, yeah, we have a new status. It's been submitted now. The status submitted is the second status that you get, and all that means is you're done. You've sent everything in. You are now waiting. The ball is now in the office's court on that folder. Okay? The office will need to review it from there. You want to submit all 3 folders before you can tell yourself that you're done with work for today, right? And you want to get all 3 of them submitted. Also, if you hover over this little I button right here, you'll see it gives you an idea of when you should be submitting. And this language needs to get updated. It says within 72 hours of execution of listing agreement. This is not a listing, so that would not be appropriate here. The idea is, our rule is pretty simple. Within 48 hours, 72 hours of getting a bound executed contract, you should be submitting your files for their initial review. You might be thinking, for those of you that have done files before, you might be thinking, Evan, how in the world am I going to have everything within 72 hours of the bound contract? We haven't even had the inspection yet. And I'm going to say, you're right. You probably won't be ready by then. You should still submit it, though. You should still submit it because you're going to get reviewed. It's going to get returned, but it's going to give you what you need to do to finish the file out. You get a little short list. Very handy. Some of you may not need that extra level of help, but I will say it is very useful, especially in your first couple of files. Be quick and expeditious about submitting your files. It's going to guarantee you that you'll know what you need to do before closing happens. Here's the thing about real estate, guys. Once something is closed, it becomes really hard to get what you need in order to have a compliant file if you're missing stuff, right? You may find the cooperating agent isn't nearly as cooperative as they were a week ago before the deal closed, right? So we want to make sure we're getting our stuff reviewed and approved before it gets to closing. Do not wait until the last second. It will hurt. Well, it'll be frustrating. I'll say that. It'll be very frustrating. Because we cannot pay you until we have a compliant file. We don't want to be sitting on a check any more than you want us to be sitting on a check, right? we don't like sitting on checks. We want to pay you as soon as we possibly can, but it's required by us in Tennessee law to make sure that everything is legal before we, issue a payment. You don't hear them barking in the back. Is it bad? I may need to switch to a dynamic. Get down. Get down. This is all going on. This is all being recorded live as well. This is good. Stop it.
They're not bothering me.
She's got a little attitude on her. She goes, whenever I yelled at her, she'll look at me like, you can't talk to me that way. Okay, so the ball's in the officer's court. Let me show you what it looks like when the file gets reviewed. So essentially you're waiting on, I'll do this one way or another. All right, there we go. Yep, I'm the one that's on here. And I'm going to say, let's review this file. Okay, so I'm going to reload my screen and we're going to see that I have a notification. Keep your eyes on that notification bell. That's what's going to tell you, hey, you've had a compliance event, and in this case, it's been returned. So no matter where I am in command, if I'm in smart plans, doing work, getting stuff done, setting up my automations, like a good efficient agent does, I come in and I click here to see what got returned. In this case, it was this file. Let me reload one more time. I forgot one of the steps. There we go. Okay, so we'll see our list of documents and their status has changed. Each individual document will be approved or returned, so you'll be able to see pretty quickly what's green and what's red, what needs to be fixed. And on this one, this form has gotten returned, and if I come over here and put my mouse over this, it'll show me what the compliance officer had to say about that document. In this case, it says, Evan, you didn't even get the client to sign. What's going on, bud? Right? They won't talk to you that way, I promise. What's going on here, man? We didn't get to sign. And then also, on each folder, they'll put their collection of notes. Usually they'll pick one and just put all their notes in there. In this case, it says yada, yada, yada. But it might say, hey, great job and everything. We still need these items. Now, compliance speaks in a very to the point, to the fact nature. So it's very like bullet point list of we're still waiting on this, this, this in order for you to be approved. Okay. At that point, we can now come back in and we can click on the file we have a problem with and we can update it. We're going to give it a new file. I'm just going to put the same one in again. Great, so this has now been updated. We see that our status is now changed. We see what file we updated and we can resubmit to the MC. Do you guys follow me so far? So we'll see what notes we have. On the under contract folder, it makes a bit more sense because there's a lot in here. You'll see which ones you got wrong, what they're waiting on, and why they returned things with an overall note as to why. If you need to message something back to the compliance officer, you can do so. You can feel free to type in here and say something. Now, please note, it'll have my name and photo on it until that gets changed. It's not me reviewing your files, by the way. Just putting that out there. I get that call every now and again. Hey, man, you're wrong. And I go, yeah, probably. What about? And they'll be like, this file that you reviewed. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not me. I know it's got my name on there. I apologize. I know it's a little weird. But it's our VA that does all of the file compliance, right? So it's not actually me. So if you get really upset and you see my picture, You can call me. It won't go. You won't get very far. Because I'll be like, oh, dang, that stinks. I'm with you, man. You should get that looked at, right? But if you're in a situation where it says like, okay, it says we're missing the MLS, but we sold this one privately off the MLS. There is no MLS listing. It'll get returned. You just got to have that conversation with compliance. If you have any further questions, if you need to get to the broker directly on something because something's just not adding up or something's wrong or not understanding what's being returned, you have questions, whatever it may be, you can always email KWGHPB at gmail.com. So KWGH, Keller Williams Green Hills, PB is in principal broker at gmail.com. That'll get you right to the full compliance team. Put the address as the subject line for quicker service.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you said we have 48 to 72 hours to submit like files, do you mean like if we got the compensation agreement and the confirmation of agency like completed and nothing else to submit those? Is that what you mean? And then we'll get
hours between the signature and the bound purchase and sale.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
when you're under contract.
Okay.
In a listing scenario, there are two events in which you need to submit 72 hours within getting a listing agreement because we have to know what listings we have in inventory. And then once again for the sales contract again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, good deal. Good question. Anybody else got any questions, thoughts, concerns, feelings, emotions? Any hallelujahs? All right. So the goal here is simple. Make all the colors green. It's a very, very simple game, right? Provide what's needed, get the green, right? And then you get green. Oh my gosh, that works in so many levels. All right, perfect. You make the green here, you'll make the green there. Let's talk about commission requests. Okay, dude. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want me to, okay? Skip it. What was that? This review is shot. Or this
Evan, how long have the dogs been training you?
The dogs, they don't like commissions. They're just not a fan. They have issues with commissions all around. Let's talk about offers and commissions. Okay. So offers and commissions are where we go to formally request our commission from the office. Those of you that have been here a while, Shannon Moreland, excuse me, you may remember a little thing called the green sheet. You muted, I'm sorry. Oh, you talking to somebody else? Okay, gotcha. All right, good deal. You may remember something called the green sheet. We no longer do green sheets. We do commission requests all the way through here. Now, in order to make a commission request, we must first tell the system what offer we went with and what are some of the details around that. I bet you can imagine why, right? Sales price is pretty important when calculating commission, right? So we're going to add a new offer. Initial offer is fine. You can name it whatever you want. It makes no difference. And we got to give it an address. Yeah, I'll just pick that one. We'll pick my house. Great. We'll give it an offer date of what, the 9th, and we'll say it's closing on the 7th of July. That seems reasonable. And then we got to say who the parties are, who was involved. Now it already fills out your side because it knows that my buyer is my contact. So all their information on it gets filled in. It knows my information. That's great. All we need to provide is the name of both the seller and the associate that represented them. If you want to provide more information, feel free to. You do not have to. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to say Joe Connor was selling his house, and that's the one that I snatched up today. Thank you, Joe, for that great deal you gave me. I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
He was being represented by Savannah Wright because at the time, Joe didn't have his license yet. Right? So I got that information in. Again, very, very simple. We move right along. Terms. Okay, this is the part where you get to bust out your calculator just a little bit because you need to calculate and know how much of the offer was cash and how much was financed. It should be in the contract. This should be pretty simple to do, but we're going to keep it simple. We're going to say it was 20,000 in cash and 80,000 it was financed. Like I said, Joe gave me a really great deal. I put 20% down on a $100,000 house of Joe Connors. Put in how much earnest money we collected. So typically it's like 1%, right? So it knows to put that in there, 1%. Hey, Joe, just for you, I'm gonna add a 0 to both of these. $1 million house, baby.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
If you could do that when I actually bring you a deal, it'd be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Joe. You need a realtor? All right. Let's talk about option fees. Option fees are pretty much not really, we don't do option fees in Tennessee, so you can kind of ignore that. Some they do in other states. And then we've got this whole thing here, seller costs. Now this uses language. We use very specific language in Tennessee, so I want you to write this down. Seller will contribute X to settlement costs. That we call that closing costs in Tennessee. So any seller contributions to closing costs would go here. Seller will contribute X to residential service contract is talking about a home warranty. So if seller's contributing to a home warranty. It is not required to put that information in here, but I would definitely recommend that you do when it comes to compliance and liability in real estate. What is the name of the game? Documentation, documentation, documentation. If you've gone to my classes before, you know how obsessed I am with recording every little detail. I want my lawyer to be happy. Because if my lawyer is happy, that means I will likely be happy. If my lawyer is mad, I will very likely not be having a very good Tuesday. Document, document, document. I have a saying, dance like no one's watching. Email like it may one day be read aloud to you in a deposition. That joke's normally a zinger, but just putting that out there. That normally gets a really loud and a standing ovation response, but I'm going to take it that you guys, I was breaking up there a little bit. You guys couldn't hear me. Feel free to steal that. Okay. Last one, agent analysis. This is really useful when you're comparing multiple offers. I'm not really covering that today. We're just kind of going right into the commissions request, but this is where you have the chance to work with the written word on pros, cons, and your overall thoughts on a given offer. So if this were a listing, this would make a little more sense. We're in a buyer, so it doesn't really make all that much sense to fill this out. But if we had a listing and we had multiple offers, we could put them all in here, and it would generate a table for us breaking down for our client all the pros and cons and all the different numbers for each offer that was submitted. Very good for when you're presenting offers to your seller. I'm gonna leave it blank for now and just throw her in here. We got our first offer. Hooray. No picture? It's not listed right now. That's probably why. Okay. Now, in order to submit a formal commission request, we need to accept one of the offers. In this scenario, it's a pretty simple decision to make. We have the one, so let's just accept it. Boom. So we have started now officially a commission request. We are going to manage that commission request. Make sure you're writing that stuff down as we go along. Okay. The sales price was $1 million. We told the opportunity when we made it how much commission we were getting on the deal, 3% in this case. If that number has changed, woo, you probably want to change it now. Let's say this ended up actually being a 2% commission. Put a contract date in and whatever we put before. That's going to change how much total commission's coming off the deal. This is important. This number needs to be accurate. Because if this number is wrong, the whole thing is going to be wrong. It's going to be an absolute disaster. Make sure you have the right sales price and right commission rate. You guys understand basic math, right? You get it. All right, moving on. We need to edit our payment. These are the details of us getting paid. Now, what's really cool is that you can actually see that I've had a really terrible year in real estate because I haven't sold a darn thing, because I have a full cap balance here to pay. But we can see how much this deal is going to contribute to it. I mean, look at that. Boom. This one deal alone is going to put me over halfway in my royalty. It's going to put me around halfway for my company dollar. So I see that I have a cap of 3,000. My balance is 3,000 because I haven't contributed to it at all. And this deal, and I can't really, actually I can kind of do a line maybe. This guy right here, this yellow right here, is showing how much this deal is going to contribute to that balance. Very useful. And for a basic deal, the work's basically done. Because in this case, all I'm saying is, all right, take out my splits. I've got a net of this much, which that number is wrong. Change that. There we go. I've got a net $12,000 that's coming to me. This would be my taxable income. Now, we all know in the wonderful world of real estate, it's never that simple, is it? Right? There's always going to be something, especially on a deal this size, right? We're going to have some more things that we're going to be putting in here. So let's talk about editing that payment. Everybody on this call is an individual agent, correct? Okay, I'm going to keep this simple then. We're going to treat this like we're all just doing one person. If you needed to add another agent, you can click this button and add that extra agent and basically go through the same steps that we're doing now, right? You just change your unit to 0.5 and recalculate the commission that you got off of that if you were going to split this deal with somebody. I'm going to leave it at 1. I see my royalty rate. I see my company dollar come out. I have my, we don't really do E&O here. You pay for E&O on your own. Kid Cares, Kid Kids Can, and Bold Scholarship. These are tax deductible. I think actually Bold Scholarship is not tax deductible, but the other two are tax deductible charitable organizations that you can contribute to. But let's talk about the extra payment options and when you may need to use them. Let me pull up my sheet too, because it's been a while since I looked at this. I need to make sure I got this down. Let's talk about commission. How do you spell commission? Am I spelling that right? Yeah. Maybe on the other account. Ah, there it is. Okay, great. Price is averted. Let's talk about common deductions. So on this list, there's bonus, concession, deductions, inside referral, outside referral. Please note, concession is the only one that we will not be talking about today because we do not allow concessions off of commissions this way. Okay. This is very much seen as a rebate in Tennessee. We do not do that. Okay, I want to make that very crystal clear. Write that down. No concessions of any kind. I would add the note without MCA approval, but I can almost guarantee you will not get approval on concessions. We just don't do that here. That's handled before we get to this point. Let's talk about the 150. You guys know what that broker added commission that we do? So if you are charging the 150 to your client, which you should be, don't eat the 150, put it in the contract, right? You are going to say first that you are collecting as a bonus 150, split with the market center. If you are collecting it from the client, if you are not collecting it from the client, it wasn't done at closing, do not put this here. Make sure that you do this only when you have in the contract that the client is to pay the 150, because you will get that extra 150 on the check that you bring to us. We need to make note and account for it here. And that goes up here. And then what you do, this is what everyone has to do, regardless if you collect it or not, we need to come in and put in a deduction. And deduction is 150. For description, you would put broker added commission. And the address is the office address. So 30 Burden Hills Boulevard. Great. Phone number 615, right? You know our numbers. And you would just hit pay to KWGH. Give everybody a second to write those details down. So whether or not you collect it from the client, we do charge $150 per transaction to pay for excise taxes as broker added commission. But I always say, put in the contract to have the client pay for it. They're dealing with thousands of dollars. They are not going to notice the 150 or care about the 150 or put a fight about the 150. And if you can negotiate that, think about that. So everybody always deduce though, the 150, deduce, deduct. Sherlock Holmes over here. Okay, let's add. Did everybody get all that?
So if you negotiated in the contract where the client's paying it, you put it in as a bonus. And if they aren't paying it, it's put in as a deduction?
You're putting the deduction in no matter what.
Oh,
Because
okay,
we're charging 150 period. But if you got the client to pay for it, then you add it as a bonus.
perfect,
If the client
okay.
didn't pay, you just skip the bonus part, right? Because that's what we're doing is this system has calculated the total payment to be the sales price times commission rate, right? But
Mhm.
if you charge the 150, you're showing up with a check that's got an extra 150 on it. We have to account for that 150. This is where we're doing that.
Okay,
We're going to take the 150 regardless. Other items, outside referrals. Let's say, what's the difference between an inside referral and an outside referral? Who knows? An inside referral is a referral from someone inside the office, not Keller Williams, specifically our office, right? So the peers amongst you in this room would all count as inside referrals. Mia Rooks in Keller Williams Mount Juliet would be an outside referral. She may be Keller Williams, but she's not at this firm. An outside referral is very simple. We just need to know how much and who are we sending it to. So you hit add item, you choose the type, and you pick outside referral. And let's say that referral was 25%. It's going to automatically calculate that off the gross commission for you. You will have gotten a W-9 from the referring party that has this information on it, like their EIN, their tax ID, their broker company name, all that good stuff. I'm not gonna type it all in. You get the idea here. Who's the agent that you're referring it to? I don't know their address off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna hit cancel here. But in order for you to have a referral that's valid, you have to provide that W-9, right? And so that information on the W-9 will be in here. So just make note of that. It seems complicated now, but I promise it's not when you're actually doing it. Now, in that referral is somebody in the office, but you may be thinking, Evan, hey, wait, hold on 1 second. Home Slice. Didn't you say before that we could add another agent to the deal? Why would I ever use an inside referral? Adding another agent gives them production credit. Inside referral does not give them production credit. How many units come off of a transaction? Can anybody tell me? On a simple buy-sell transaction, how many units come off of that? Units of production. The answer is dose. 2 units, one for the list side, one for the buy side, right? Now, if Savannah and I worked a deal together 50-50, then you would add me as another agent and we both get 0.5 unit, right? But if I had nothing at all to do with it, right? I didn't really care about the production credit. I just referred the client over because I'm not really practicing right now and Savannah's doing all the work. I want her to get the full credit, but I still want to get my referral check, please, and thank you. Then I would do an inside referral in that scenario, because an inside referral quite simply says how much and to who. Well, that's excessive. Just like that. I still get a full unit and credit for the GCI, but I'm paying Savannah this much money off of it. It does affect my taxable income because that doesn't count as income anymore because I pay that off the deal. Last but not least, third-party payments. I am paying a contract to close company X number of dollars for working my transaction. That is a deduction. Works the same way as before. However much, whatever this information is. And chances are, if you had hired a C2C person, they would be doing this for you, right? But in case they aren't, you would also be including their tax ID type, their ID, description, paid to, an address. Once you are done, you'd hit Save Changes. And you'll see here that we can submit this because everything's in balance. Every dollar of the commission has been accounted for. We have a total commission plus bonus, out of which this much is total is being paid to the office in royalty and additional deductions to the office. And then we're paying this much to agents with that 150 deduction. That's the full 20 grand altogether. If it is out of balance, it will not let you submit. It will tell you, hey, some of the commission here is missing, or you're spending more money than there is commission. How did you do that? It will tell you what that problem is. Just go and correct it. It is to guarantee that you don't accidentally screw yourself out of money, for lack of a better word, or accidentally pay yourself way too much money. These things have to get approved. Once we hit submit, the acceptance practice, the acceptance process works the exact same way as document compliance does. right? It gets submitted, they review it, they accept it, or they return it. If it's returned, then you have to make your adjustments and resubmit. And we do that back and forth until we get green. Approved. Thoughts, questions, concerns, feelings, emotions. I think Jeannie's got something.
No, I'm just making sure it's recorded because the time I get to this, I will have forgotten it. I just started
Sure.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And you may come across some things that we didn't. When it comes to commissions, there's like a million different scenarios that we could role play, right? Like, what do I do in this situation? When you come across those, feel free to reach out to me or Andrew or Tamara. If it's commission related, reach out to Tamara or Andrew. If it's commission related, if it's got $sign in the question, then it needs to go to the MCA office. If it is a question around file compliance, meaning why is this file required, or what was wrong with my file? Those kinds of questions go to the brokers, right?
Okay.
If it's I'm hitting this button and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, if it's a tech question, come to me.
Okay.
If it is, I'm hitting it, it's submitting it, but no one's getting it, I don't know what's going on, what's weird, my computer be bad. If that situation's happening, then feel free to contact me. I am the Mr. Fix-It guy, but I cannot answer questions around commissions. You probably don't want me to, because I'll end up making more money somehow, right? And you also don't want me answering your questions about compliance because we'll both be in jail together. And I just met you guys. I don't know if our friendship is ready for that level yet. We'll both go to court together.
That's funny.
And I'll sit there and go, this is her fault.
I feel like it's his dog's fault.
She listened to me. I don't know why. Look at me, man. I look like I have answers, right? We'll both have a pretty bad Tuesday together. Okay, let's talk about the policy around when you can expect to get your commission. Oh, Joe, is your hand raised? I'm sorry.
No,
Gotcha, just resting. Hear you. So we have a rule called in by 2, out by 2. So if you have everything in by 2 o'clock on any given business day, your commission will be processed and paid to you by the 2 o'clock of the next business day. In by 2, out by 2. Now, what qualifies as in is the question. We must have 4 things. 1, we must have a compliant file. So all green across the board. Number 2, we must have an accepted commission request. So green there as well. We must have the actual commission check from the title company with us. We can't pay you. Have the monies from the commission table, or from the closing table to pay it with, all right? And last but not least, we must have a copy of the settlement statement. If we have all 4 of those things, that counts as in by 2. And it only counts as in by 2 when the 4th item is there. So if you got 3 of those items yesterday, you brought me the second one today in by 2, the in by 2, out by 2 clock starts today. Under no circumstances do we ever want to hold on to money. A lot of money passes through that office. We don't like funds just sitting there. We like to move them along. So if you're ever running into a problem, please reach out to us. We want to fix it. We want you to have money in your hands. It's better served there than it is sitting on Tamara's desk, right? And also, we want to pay you. It's what we do. It's literally what our jobs are, is to get you guys paid. That's our main focus as a brokerage, is pay our people. If we can't do that, then we are not a brokerage very much longer, right? That is how that goes. So it looks like to do this class in total, it's only about an hour. I wasn't sure. I put 2 in there because I used to teach the compliance piece near the end of the other DocuSign class, and the commissions is kind of a new class that we're adding onto it because it's we just started doing that system. I want to say about a month or so ago. So I wasn't sure how long this would take. So I put 2 hours on it. That being said, though, I've gotten through all the content that I wanted to cover. So I wanted to say, hey, if you're done and you're thinking I got everything I need, feel free to sign off. For anybody who still has questions, feel free to hang on and just ask whatever questions you have. And because we have an hour, I mean, feel free to ask questions about anything. It can be. Hey, get down.
Hey, Evan,
Yes, sir.
I just signed up for a one-on-one with you, I think on the 29th.
Okay.
I am brand new agent, not familiar with this system at all. And God love you, I am not that tech savvy.
Gotcha.
I have trouble spelling tech. Okay,
Okay.
so I know that there are recorded classes. What would you recommend I look at before our meeting so I can
First
be
and foremost,
somewhat
if you haven't
prepared?
watched orientation, you need to watch orientation. Get the basics down.
Okay,
There is also understand this concept. There is no pressure on you to learn all of the tech today or tomorrow. Start with just organizing your data. You know your people, you know their phone numbers, you know how to get their email addresses. Focus on that. At the end of the day, what matters the most is you and your relationships with your clients and your sphere. That matters more than anything else. The tech is just meant to supplement what we are doing to stay in relationship with those people. So if the reason why I say that is if tech becomes a challenge and it's getting in the way, then back off of it a little bit. Focus on where your strengths are. I want you to be able to use the tech to get in front of more people and be more. But what I will say is you're not missing out on a chance to be in front of people because of the tech, right?
okay,
It won't like tech is not going to create that for you. That's something that you create. Tech just helps you accomplish it, if that makes sense. It's a massive leg up because it lets you do things in bulk and at scale, right? Where it makes things a lot easier to do a lot more quickly. But at the end of the day, if we don't have a plan to stay in touch with people, the tech's not going to make that plan appear.
okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else?
Thank you so much, Evan. I'm gonna
Thank
hop
you,
off.
Sarah. Appreciate it. Take care.
You too.
Actually, I do have a question. It has nothing to do with what we talked about, though. And
Okay.
I guess it
Anyway.
has to do more with the marketplace. And I don't know if I
Marketplace,
can
okay.
miss command class on that, or how do I set up? Can you set up on here the market, like my Facebook is connected. I need to
Okay.
connect my Instagram. But how do I set up these things on a timeline thing?
Okay, so the marketplace is just a bunch of third-party apps.
Okay.
Just to be clear on that. So you don't need to go into it. I would start with just your basics. Now, your Instagram ads manager is connected via your Facebook ads manager because Facebook owns Instagram, right?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to get stuff into Instagram without just going. I don't know. I
So
did
there
it.
is no social calendar for Instagram.
Okay.
And that's just a limitation on the Instagram API. We have not gotten access to it. Facebook has a whole, they have this weird, it's like Instagram's clearly their favorite daughter, you know, like, and they're a little more inquisitive about who they let court it.
Okay.
It's very odd the way they do things. So Facebook post scheduling works just fine, but Instagram has this whole different set of rules and our software doesn't quite talk to it yet. Now for Instagram ads, that just goes through regular Facebook ads manager anyway. So that part's fine. But it's the social posts themselves. Like if I wanted to post to my Instagram page from Command, you could do that. I would not worry too much about the social posting aspect of it until you like had a calendar of content that you wanted to go out at a leisurely schedule. Otherwise, just go there and do it. You're not saving time by doing it through command, right? Where you save time is when I have a bunch of content pre-made and I need something to send it out on a schedule, right? That's when you would use that feature. Or if you just want to take advantage of, like, they have those pre-made posts, just hit the button and it'll work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Homekeeper. I get all this stuff about Homekeeper and I've kind of set it up. Is home
Delete it.
Oh, I don't need the Homekeeper.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Okay.
It's a vendor database thing.
Okay. Because I even tried to put some fingers in there and it wasn't working. I was like, okay.
It's a vendor database thing. You can use your database to do that. Someone may argue with me, like, I don't know, Tabby may watch this video and go, Evan, what are you telling them? I don't know. There may be something I'm missing on a Homekeeper, but I have not seen a feature in it that I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta have it. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Focus on your database, focus on getting your data organized in the system and get your marketing up and running before you worry about anything else. Because you are going to get bombarded with tons of different like services and softwares and lead generation and yada yada. Focus on getting in relationship with your people in a systematic way
So what's
before
the
you
thing
worry
where
about anything else.
What's the thing where you can set up where they get like their own little website where they can connect and pull their own neighborhood up? That's not part of
That's-
Homekeeper?
It is. That's not part of Homekeeper. It's part of command. Just get their addresses and put it in.
So I don't, what's the HK invite then? I don't have to put that on there?
Say that one more time.
Tag? So it's, I guess I'm not confused with how it comes out of command. So right now, like I put someone in and I put their address in. And in
Okay.
tags, I've got HK invite. Does that
I
make
don't know
sense?
what HK. Oh, disconnect Homekeeper from your thing.
Okay, so
I
how
don't
do
know
they
what-
get it? Once I put their address, they just automatically get something from Keller Williams?
No.
Because my friends aren't getting anything.
No, they will only get stuff that you send them or you consent to sending them.
Okay, so
Uh,
how do I send them the thing to show their neighborhood or whatever? Email thing.
All right, so I'm going to pull up a contact. Actually, I'm going to add you in my database real quick. Jeannie Fowles. What's your email? What's your email address?
JeannieFowles@kw.com.
Like
Did I
that?
say that too fast?
No, I think you're.
Jeannie Fowles, lowercase f.
Doesn't matter.
The F's
What's
not
the phone number?
capital.
That's fine. What's the phone number?
615-717-8019.
All right, so I'm in your contact record, yeah?
Okay.
Now, you have no neighborhood yet. I can add some manually, or I could do this. I can come in and I can put an address in. What's your address?
362 Ardsley Place.
R,
Across the street.
wait, what's the street name?
Ardsley, Ardsley.
There we go.
I can walk to the office.
There we are. So when I save this now, it says you live in South Green Hills. Okay, so there's the link to the neighborhood page right here. I can just copy and paste this in an email to you whenever I want, right? This is your website here as a contact record in my database. Now, if I want you to get emails about this regularly, I need to have a smart plan set up called the monthly neighborhood nurture. And I can hit start and you'll get one now, one a month. If I go to your timeline, I will see that you got my first one.
Okay. And it automatically emails, or do I need to sign up for Twilio for this?
The emails are automated, but you have to have the monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan installed. If you don't have this installed, then you can't pick it. You
Okay.
get that from smart plans in here,
Yeah, I do have that installed. I saw you. do
Okay,
that.
perfect. So if you don't enroll them on the plan, they won't get anything. You got to enroll them on the plan.
Okay.
So it's not just running to everybody. You pick and choose who goes on what. And you'd want it that way, right? You wouldn't want everyone getting a certain plan. If I had a plan, like for example, I have a plan called Facebook Lead Plan. I would not want everyone on my database getting this. This thing is stupid aggressive. It texts them every single day, right? I don't want all my friends getting it, so I pick just my Facebook leads as they come in to go on it.
Okay.
Because that's who I want to get this messaging. I don't want my mom to get this plan because it's going to say things to her like this. It's going to say, first, it's going to tell me to call them every day for 10 days. And it's going to say, hey, mom, click on the home. It's posted on Facebook. This is Evan Ransom, McKellar Williams. Do you have any questions? In case you're like me, in case you're good, you clicked on, let me know. And I'll send you a direct link to you. Check it out again. Right? Like it's, and then there's all like, I haven't heard from you yet. It's been 3 days. And I've already texted you twice. The third message is, I haven't heard from you. What's going on? Right? So I would not want every single one of my contacts getting something like that. So I make it where I only put certain people on certain kinds of plan because that's how I can effectively cater my messaging to those groups of people. I use tag to determine which group is which, right?
Okay.
So if I want to have a conversation with just people that I've done business with in the past, I can make a plan and have it go just to people that have the tag past client, right?
Got it.
And that's how you that's how you structure. When I talk about getting your marketing together in a systematic way, that's what I'm referring to, right? It's like, cool, I'm making sure that I'm giving good personalized information to specific groups of people in my database. The monthly neighborhood nurture is one that I put everybody on because it's not targeted at a type of person. The type of person is someone who lives in a house, which is everybody, right? Someone who has shelter. So that's fine. Everybody gets that one, right? But not all my plans are so vague, right? A lot of my plans are a little more nuanced and I want them in front of certain crowds. And that's why I use tags to separate my groups out, my different audiences, and I put them on different kinds of plans so that I'm ensuring overall that everyone's getting this many emails from me a year, this many text messages from me a year, and they're getting this many phone calls from me a year. But they may be getting different kinds of content
Okay.
based on who they are.
I got you.
I'm not going to send lumber price statistics to people that aren't builders.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
You kind of froze on me.
Yeah, I think our connection's starting to break up a little bit.
Okay, I can see you now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care.
I
Have
think
a good one.
everybody else left us.
Bye.
Bye.